Greetings, Cougar Hoops Nation, and welcome to another edition of Cougar Hoops Insider. We're joined today by a very special guest, the voice of the Cougars, Bill Barber. Bill, thanks so much for being with us. Let's just talk about how this thing evolved, where you became, I think, such an integral part of the program, and the way you represent us at games. And obviously, you're the dad of Luke and a fifth-year senior, but how this thing has evolved and the impact that you've had and the way you've just own the program and just really help to put us out there at really another level. You've just done an incredible job, and we're so grateful for you and for your heart. Just give us a little bit of background on yourself and how this thing came to be. I don't know how we're going to be able to afford you anymore. I mean, I know the price keeps going up, but you're worth every penny you're getting. I know that much.
Well, thanks for inviting me to be part of this. I had done high school public address for about 8 years over the athletic careers of my sons, always with their permission, because I didn't know if they wanted their dad's voice in the background in their ear. And then we came to Spring Arbor for Luke's career, and his first year sat in the stands like all the other parents. And unknown to me, right at the beginning of Luke's sophomore year, I think somebody had put a bug in your ear that I had done public address before. And I remember the Saturday out in the parking lot where you just said, "You've done public address, can you start next week?" And little did I know that was right as we were, maybe the wave was starting to build, in Spring Arbor basketball, and it's just become very special. So this is my fourth season of calling Cougar basketball, and part of it is just, number one, we love Spring Arbor. We love what it's meant for our family. Two of our sons will have graduated from here, and we have a daughter-in-law and maybe a future daughter-in-law from here as well. And so we love Spring Arbor, but I'm passionate that our game day experience would be something that's not only special for the Spring Arbor community, but for every guest that walks in the building. Want them to go away from here saying, wow, that's a great place to enjoy a ball game and to be treated kindly and with respect. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, you are exceptional. We've had multiple people ask who's your game day announcer, and just the energy with which you do it, the way you represent the program and the institution, and certainly your faith comes out, and it's just powerful, your influence. Bill, give us a couple. So you've been doing it now for 4 years. What have been a couple of the highlights for you in that role?
I think a couple of highlights. Of course, the great highlight is to be able to call the home games of the defending national champions, and last year was such a special year, and I love the men on this team and the coaching staff so much. So it's a highlight to watch those young men who work so hard behind the scenes, and then you have to watch them go through adversity and success, and so I love giving every player that special love when he has his moment of success in that moment. I also think that when we've been able to connect with some of the fan base of visiting schools and just show them some kindness. I know on senior days when we obviously recognize our seniors, but we pray by name for the seniors of the other school. And invariably, we've had those parents or those players come up after the game and say, "Thank you for praying for me," or for an injured player that recently C.J. Pena from Taylor was injured and we thought out for the season, and we just included him in the opening prayer. Those are little things on the side of just saying this is more than just basketball. It's great basketball. And we want to win. We want to stomp them, when they come in the building. But we also want them to get up off the mat and say, wow, that was the nicest stomping we've ever done. I think. So.
Yeah. Well, speaking into that, Bill, with your creativity as the PA guy, man, it's just awesome. I know earlier you were on point when we gave a moment of silence for Cassius Winston and his family and what they were going through, and just your creativity was what I appreciate and gets talked about a lot with, you include them in the opening prayer, but even some of the halftime activities, I know that's kind of your doing, where you're getting parents, and one thing I've always appreciated about you, Bill, is just the ambassador you are, even more so, not just to the other and opposing, but to the new incoming parents that we have. You're like the go-to, like you kind of make everybody feel welcome and just kind of give them the lay of the land, and I've really appreciated that. You just have an incredible skill with that. So I know some of the creativity you address, you give a little to your wife. Marty does a little bit of that. So I just thank you for all that creativity and just being kind of the ambassador and the grandpa, if you will, of all the parents and getting everybody on the same page. So.
I think that's a bald joke somewhere.
No,
I'm not sure.
No, I use those up on Coach Brown.
But I think I would just say I kind of learned from the best, and it's one of your relatives, Troy Love, Cougar alum and a Cougar parent alum from a few years ago. When Luke first came to the program, Troy Love welcomed us as a new family and made sure that we were looked after and connected us with people. And it was never an official passing of the baton to us, but that resonated with my heart. And I knew that when Troy exited the program and Isaac, his son, that somebody needed to step up. And I'm thankful to God that we were able to do that. And we've been joined by Jeff Beckman's parents. Brian and Sue have been tremendous partners in welcoming and connecting people. And we're just confident that as we move on, that God will bring other dads and moms in here to come alongside you coaches and what you're trying to do, because I think it's all part of building the culture that goes beyond basketball. And I know in the 5 years that we've been here, we've seen a tremendous arc in that. Things have changed for the good, or maybe not changed, but just have grown for the good about the culture of Cougar basketball. And we want to see it continue to be not only great basketball and competitive on a conference scale and a national scale, if God allows that, but also where we're building the families and the young guys that are coming through the doors here.
Before Coach Brown interjects, I want to just piggyback off what Coach Bauman mentioned about the moment of silence for Cassius Winston, who lost his brother, who was at Albion College and had been in our gym all summer playing with our guys, and so they knew him quite well, and were taken back by it. This past week, we had Jackson High hosting Ypsilanti Lincoln High School as the #1 rated player in the nation in Amani Bates, and projected to be the #1 draft pick when he's ready to make that jump. And so the place is packed out. It's sold out, right? The MAC is sold. We're turning people away. It was just this electric atmosphere, and of course, you're on the mic and setting the tone, and it's been amazing. And Kobe Bryant's tragic death, along with the other 8 people, of course, his daughter. Think about the young kids, how difficult it is to wrap our heads around that. But the cultural impact and influence with social media now, and that Kobe Bryant has had and is having now, and how that is pretty remarkable. But for you, I think setting the tone that night with a moment of silence, and here's Amani, who had switched jerseys to number 24, from his 21. Of course, the social media following he gets is just unbelievable. But for you to set the tone with that moment of silence, with to recognize and honor Kobe, I thought was just so well done and so tasteful, and for all the right reasons. And again, it's just a further example of your heart and being able to connect with people across the scope. And so I don't know if there's really a question, more or less just a statement saying, job well done, Bill. You've done it, and you've done it really, really well.
Thank you. I was just aware. God always makes us look better than we deserve to look, right? That's what grace is all about. But I think that night, thinking about coming into a packed arena, and it was electric, and it was an awesome night for Spring Arbor, and we had a chance to be hosts and hostesses to people that would never step on our campus otherwise. And I think as far as the social consciousness of Kobe's death being the previous day, and resonating with these young, talented athletes who they looked up to, everybody wanted to be a ball player like Kobe. And I think you could hear a pin drop in the arena that night where 2,000 plus people were dead silent. And so I think it made, once again, it goes back to God helping us to say, we want Spring Arbor University to be a shining light in a dark world, and sometimes it's just through the little things like that. So thank you very much, though.
Yeah, we would all agree with those observations. I would say from day one, when you saw a need and filled the gap, that it became really obvious to us that we have taken a step up. I mean, it's a special place, but I would go beyond that and say you bring a professionalism to what you do that we really, really appreciate. We hear announcers, PA announcers across the Midwest, and there's nobody that does it as well as you do, Bill. And I would reflect on something that you said also, that God makes us look better than we do. I think it's that they see Jesus in us, and you have demonstrated that over and over again, whether it's here or whether traveling. I know I've heard you often talk about Luke's experience when he was injured as a younger player, talking to a parent of someone who was kind of struggling. But it didn't change who you were, it didn't change who Luke was, except it helped him to grow. And we just really appreciate the professionalism you bring to our program. It's been really, really beyond special.
Thank you so much.
Final question, Bill. All of Cougar Nation has been clamoring to know, and that is, will you be returning for year 5 and beyond? We're putting you on the hot seat now. No pressure there. I know we're going to have to renegotiate your contract. We're probably going to have to get President Ellis and Doug Wilcoxon involved because my pockets are deep enough. But I mean, is this something you're open to continuing? Are you and Marty gonna ride off into the sunset? What's next?
Well. That's a loaded question. I feel like Luke last year on senior day when it was, are you coming back for your redshirt year? I'm Luke Barber's dad. I'm only famous because of Luke being here, and God's been good to give him some success these last couple of years along with the team. I love doing what I do. The home games, I don't get to watch my own son play because I'm calling the game, so I go home and watch the games on demand. And that's fine because I do love helping create an atmosphere. And I certainly, my love for the Cougars doesn't stop just because Luke's going to be gone. When your people talk to my people and the price, but I think that we want to stay involved. I don't know what all that will look like. We're very open to staying involved, certainly because we love this place, and I guess I would say we love the Cougar family, and we love the younger players because we remember that journey that it takes for a young player to be a grizzled veteran, and they need encouragement. And so, God willing, you'll see our faces around here, whether it's in the same role or not. But I would say I'm very open to returning if the powers that be would like that. We certainly will be open to continuing to be the voice of the Cougars.
Thanks so much, Bill. Appreciate it.